So this evening I'm going to make Bubble and Squeak. Now you may have heard of that before. It's a very simple dish to make, usually made out of leftovers, but I don't have any leftovers. So what I'm going to do is I've picked 3 medium potatoes. I'm going to chop those up, cook them with a little bit of cauliflower, use the vegetables I've got, so some peas and some chopped up Savoy. I've got 1 spring onion and a little slice of cooking fat. I'm going to saute the spring onions, and then with the rest of the vegetables, they're all going to be mashed up together with the potatoes, and then we're going to fry it in the pan. Now the reason it was called Bubble and Squeak was simply that it does make a squeak sound as you press down with the spatula as it cooks underneath, because it's one solid flat mass. Really, it's like one thick potato pancake filled with vegetables, and as you squeeze it down to brown it, it really sounds like you've caught something under there and it's dying a horrible death. It does squeak and it does squeal, but that's perfectly normal. So anyway, I thought it's a great recipe to do. It's very simple, very easy. Probably a great recipe for somebody who wants to try a World War II dish for their main meal. It's probably a great one to start off with because there's no baking and it's really, really quick. So I have 1 spring onion, and I've chopped that up, and I've got a little bit of fat there, probably ½ an ounce maybe. It's a medium-sized pan. I had peas available. I got 2 leaves of Savoy cabbage and chopped that up, and I've put that in the pot ready to cook. And then I've got 3 medium potatoes and just a couple of florets of cauliflower. Bubble and Squeak was made over your leftover vegetables or vegetables you had. It's predominantly potato with enhancements of leftover veg and leftover meat. Anything basically thrown in together, mashed up, and then sauteed in the pan till it finishes cooking through and it's got a nice brown sort of crust on it to bring the flavours out. It's absolutely delicious. I can't wait. So yeah, I can't wait. I'm absolutely famished. So I'm just melting the fat, and then I'm going to just fry this chopped up green onion, spring onion. You could get onions during the war. They were a bit harder to come by, so most people used sort of spring onion or leeks quite often. You could get onions, it's just they were a little bit harder to come by, a bit like tomatoes really. So here's all the cooked vegetables. Don't skimp on the seasoning. If you like salt and pepper, make sure you put a decent amount in if you want it to be tasty. So basically, you just mash it all up. Doesn't have to be smooth, obviously it's going to have lots of different vegetables in it. But mash it all up into sort of the consistency that you like. One thing I would say is just make sure that you mash the potato up with the vegetables, but don't add in any extra liquids. It doesn't need it. Just put plenty of salt and pepper in as you like it to add flavour, and yeah, and then you fry it in the pan. So those spring onions are perfect now, so we need to mix up that mash and plop it into the pan. So I've put it in the pan. It's on sort of medium-low really. And I'm just going to slowly reduce the moisture in it by doing it that way. And then slowly it will brown. How I like to cook it is I tip it out when you've cooked one side onto a plate and then put it back into the pan. So it's now back in the pan, and it won't be long before we hear the familiar squeaking. So we're going to dry it out on the bottom and brown it. We'll brown it more on the bottom than it is on the top. So this is nearly cooked now, just a few more minutes. If you press down, it's getting quite firm. You just begin to hear those little bubbling and squeaking. There's the bubbles. And in a minute you'll hear the squeaking. Here we go. Nearly ready. Here we go. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. I'm so hungry. Oh God, how I've missed you. So there we are, Bubble and Squeak. I'm red-faced, but it was worth the effort. So yeah, here goes. Let's give it a taste. Bubble and Squeak down the hatch. Mm. Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. Oh, yeah. Oh God, how I've missed you. But obviously during the war, now of course I'm vegan. I've used dairy-free fat, margarine for cooking. I've used vegetables. But obviously you just made use of what you had. So obviously people had, you know, little bits of fatty bits of bacon or leftover meat, and they added that to the vegetables. But the base of the dish is potatoes. Add some leeks. If you had onions, put some onions in there, spring onions. Put what you got in there basically, and give it time. Just be patient, let it dry out a little bit, and make sure that you've got a nice brown bottom and top, and that adds all that extra flavour. So yeah, that's it. Me done for the day. Although I am going to make beetroot pudding later, but anyway. Love it.